Today, we're excited to bring to you this member spotlight on a company that has demonstrated resiliency, growth, innovation, and much more. The valued ISSA member you're about to meet has not only expanded its market presence, but has also built a reputation for consistently delivering top-tier products and exceptional customer service. We will dig into this company's history and discover how it has succeeded over the years and successfully navigated challenges that have cropped up as they do for all of us. And to do this, I'm pleased to welcome Ian Wist with Wist Business Supplies and Equipment. Ian, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Jeff. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Great conversation we're about to have looking at your company. I did a little investigating, so we have a few questions for you. Easy questions, Ian. But my first one, since you share the same name as the company, I have to think must be a family business. What's your role?
Yeah, it is a family business, owner and general manager of the organization. I have been here just about 38 years now. Next year in 2025, it'll be the 70th anniversary of the organization. So I would begin with my grandfather, who was a veteran of World War One. He came back from France. He had suffered some, like mustard gas damage, so forth. He was from southwestern Minnesota in the middle of nowhere, but he was deposited in Arizona. And really with no money and probably at that time in 1922, no car or horse, he was just stuck here with other folks who had the same kind of damage. So he had some partners. They opened up an office supply company together, and that remained as standalone business. He left that company and started this in 1955. He did it. My dad did it. My mom got involved, and then my brother came in. I'm in now. My brother's close to his retirement. He's older, and my son, who's close to 30, is involved in the business. So we are now approaching, well, we are in the fourth generation.
Ian, I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, it said you're the general manager of Wist,
Yeah,
but you said you're the owner.
I am. I'm not a title guy. I could put president, or my brother uses president. I could use vice president, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the work you do. I'm not a title guy, and everybody comes in here if they're seeking answers and they need approval. And yeah, it was given to me a long time ago, and it just stuck.
I like it. I kind of figured you weren't a title guy when I saw that, and then you said you're the owner. So,
Yeah.
so it's you're based in Arizona,
Hmm.
and what areas do you serve?
So where the office here and warehouse is in Tempe, Arizona. So kind of the first suburb east of Phoenix, and we're in the greater metro area. Clearly, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of it. And we also have an office in Tucson. However, we do service the entire state. So we're going east, south, west. We run trucks to Yuma every week. And there's also, business up in northern Arizona as well. We do some national business on a drop ship basis through wholesalers. Generally, we do ship some out of here direct, but if there are offices around the country, we will fulfill those through wholesale distribution or have partner dealers that we have relationships with.
And I was looking at your website. You sell everything from business equipment to janitorial supplies.
Yes, we do. We are up to about, oh gosh, over 70,000 items on our site. We have loaded both Ascendant and SP Richards content, and we're creating a lot of our own Jansan content as we're buying from manufacturers that are not supported by those wholesalers.
All right. Fantastic. So let's talk about your company a bit more. What makes your company unique or different in the industry? You look at so many distributors out there. Why Wist?
Well, that's a really good question, Jeff. There's a lot of longevity here, so I feel we're doing the right thing overall. It's really we put customers first in almost every regard. However, we do know that we have to compensate hire talent and take care of the office, above all, or there is nothing to offer out there. But we only do that at the goodwill of our customers. So it's really important that we strive to take care of them. And I'm sure it's this same repetitive message you hear from a lot of folks. But at the end of the day, we embrace change. We look for opportunities where there is change in the market. And we're in there to fill the opportunities when they arise. And I feel certainly with the Jansan space having so much disruption that you've probably been covering and writing about and talking about, that there is space, and we want to fill the void where there may be less desirable customer experiences happening out there. And that's who we want to be.
Less desirable customer service. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they're not having, if something they were getting something, they don't get it anymore. Let me see if I can do what you used to get and return that level of service you had. Because these things get bigger and bigger, and customers get lost in that.
Mhm. How old were you when you came into the family business?
22.
22.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
What's the best part about what you do? What's your favorite?
Probably two things. I really enjoy people an awful lot. I work with some really fantastic people. We don't have a lot of turnover. Folks come here as long as we get the right folks, and they stay here an awfully long time. And there are some really long-term relationships with folks and with customers as well. The other part is, I'm reasonably become competitive. I like to win. I like seeing wins. I don't mind losing from time to time, because you're not going to win them all. But winning is still a lot of fun. I have not lost any passion for that at all.
I like that. I think the competitive nature is just part of the entrepreneurial spirit, but we want to temper that, of course, with what we offer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the strategies. You mentioned your people and customer service. Anything else you can think of with Wist over the years that you say, this is another part of why we succeeded?
Well, I would say that, we want to embrace change, right? So Jeff, the market is always moving. This company started off, stationary and moved into machines back when there were a lot of Gestetner and Olivetti, those names that really don't exist anymore. We were dealers of those machines. We were once, when I got here almost 40 years ago, really a lot of furniture sales and lesser on the office product side. But through some recessions, which weren't fun, we really understood that furniture can be boom bust, and those were one of the first capital expenditures to go. But people were still using the office products to continue to fulfilling their daily routines and getting their jobs done. So we really plowed deep into that. And that was really the basis of our organization and the bread and butter, so to speak, for a very long time. However, times continue to change, and bring up, people working from home. That took a lot of people out of the office, therefore the supplies we were selling were not as consumed as rapidly. And there was an awful lot of digitization that was always a creep in that side of the business. So we have pivoted, largely back into furniture in the last decade. It's a very successful portion of our business. And we looked in adjacencies, and through COVID, we started getting asked by the customers for items that were on the periphery of the janitorial sanitation world. And we were awfully competitive. And we were selling an awful lot of it. And I thought, well, this could be the path forward. So through, we do some strategic planning. We have an advisory board that guides us. They come in, they fly in. We talk some folks that have a lot of trust in it, we have a lot of business acumen. We put that together and we build out a strategic plan, and going forward now, executing on a strategy that's putting us headlong into the Jansen space.
Nice story. I was wondering if, the challenges you faced over the years, I was wondering if the pandemic meant you were selling more to people who started their home office, going from the regular traditional office to their home, if they would buy equipment or supplies. Maybe they did. I don't know.
We picked up some business, but what we found was when folks were released from the office, and I'll won't name names, but I'll say there's a large healthcare company and they're out there and they have 4,000 employees, and now you send 3,000 of them home. We were doing some home delivery at first, but what they ultimately did is they issued them P cards and they gave them budgets to order where they pleased. And I think the natural inclination of people is to go to Amazon, right? That's the buy box. It's simple, it's convenient. They already were using it for their home spend. And so why not just continue doing that? And that caused some disruption for us. Clearly, there's this loss of revenue from that type of business where they're not in the office consuming, where we have a purchasing agent. Now it's all decentralized. But we really jumped in. We had a PPE contract with the state. We were selling a lot of that product during that period of time, so that augmented the sales. But at the end of the day, a lot of folks were given the green light to order from Amazon. Now, as people come back, and budgets are tight in respects, management doesn't always want folks just shopping all over Amazon and maybe not getting everything that's appropriate for work. So we're working with organizations to harness that now and direct spend to the items that they feel are appropriate because they're paying for them.
Yeah, you mentioned Amazon. Now, if they went to IKEA, they'd have to build their own furniture anyway.
Yes, and we do build it and we put it together for folks.
So let's have a fun question. If you could go back in time and do something different with Wist, with your company, whatever part of time that would be, what would you do different?
Oh gosh, another great question. I would, looking back, and I've had an awful lot of fun in this business. I've made, some great relationships, and I've had some great moments. Probably would have celebrated those a little more. At times, we put our head down. All of us, are out there, and we have our heads down. We're trying to keep things going, trying to be successful. Obviously, the changes we have to face and manage daily, whether it's staff or it's delivery or it's cost of goods, it's new suppliers. These things can sometimes be a little overwhelming, but we've had a ton of success. The company's grown and been prosperous for an awfully long time. And I'm now, as I get older, I'm recognizing, how much fun that was. In the moment, probably went past me, and I wish I would have been a little more present. That would be what I would say I would have changed.
Thank you. Very nice. How many employees do you have? Guessing's fine, but
So, between Phoenix and Tucson, we're a little over 70 folks.
okay. Now, you mentioned turnover is not a big deal. You keep your people.
Generally, we do. We new folks come in and out. You always have a certain level of churn. We're not afraid to take risks and get into new categories and bring in new thinking. It's not always a fit, and that's okay. But there are a lot of folks here. My sales manager's been here since more or less the same time I got here, maybe within 12 months. The gentleman in the office next to me has been here for over 40 years. We have a lot of really long time invested folks. So when you have say a crisis like COVID, everybody rallies around the organization and the customers, and let's see what we need to do to take care of them. And their goodwill then, obviously supports the organization.
So you keep your people. Those are great examples. How do you find the new ones? How do you find the best people from the start? Any good strategies there to share?
Oh gosh, well, how would I say this? We work hard in the HR department to make sure that we're asking the right questions to bring on, the talented folks that are going to make a difference and do a good job. More than one of us gets involved in that interview process. I'll be involved in parts of it. HR, the department lead of who's going to be managing that person's involved. And we try to ask the right questions and make sure, what's motivating to that individual, what's important to them. And if we're hitting those key points of their interest in their job, that they're competitive, they want to win, and this is an interesting line of work for them, then it's going to likely be a good fit. We have a saying, good, be good or be gone. So if it's not a fit, we try to move quickly on that because it's not good for either party. There's one recent hire. It's somebody we interviewed her in sales 15 years ago. Yeah, about maybe 12, somewhere in there, but we didn't get her. And we've always stayed in touch, talked business. She worked in other fields here in my market, and kind of talked to her about a year and a half ago. She's trying something new. Not our time again, but that didn't work out for her. And she's not a jumper. She stays put with her jobs for a long time. As you can tell, it was just the one move, but it wasn't a fit. And so I said, well, we still think it's a good fit here, Jeff. Let's ask for a third and last time if you would like to join the team here. And she's been fantastic. Embraced by the group. It's what my gut always told me. This was going to work and work really well. And the group immediately has really embraced her, brought her into the field with them. And she's a great representative of the organization. We always knew that. We knew that 15 years ago. We wish we could have started then, but she was gainfully and happily employed at that time. And there wasn't any convincing of her to move.
And just look at it as it was a 15-year interview.
Yeah, she was interviewing us pretty hard for 15 years. We got her.
But it worked, right? That's what matters.
It did.
And good people are worth the wait, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you get good people, it just eliminates all those distractions, and you can work on the core business of what you want to do for your clients.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to know what you would think about. You have competitors. You probably talk to your competitors. You're probably friendly with them.
Mm-hmm.
If one was to look at your company and there was something they would look and go, I wish we were doing that, what would that be?
I believe that when folks look at what we do, and in our space, because we're moved into this Jansen world, so it's a little different. We're finding our way through, and we're learning a lot fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynamic, it's a mature industry. For us, we're all excited by it. You may not hear that from some of the people who have been in it a long time. We are so excited about Jansen. It's crazy. But from the OP world, we had competitors who were just like myself, lots of them. And there was so much, acquisition and mergers going on that a lot of those folks disappeared. They became part of Staples, Office Depot, Office Max. Office Max disappearing, becoming part of Office Depot. But Staples and Depot, you've seen all the retail stores close. That's changed quite a bit. But if I look at those bigger entities, and he's saying, hey, you've been in the Phoenix market. It's a big market where we both compete here. What is it about Wist? I think the answer is going to be, you know, they have integrity. Um, they they're efficient. They do a really good job. And if you want somebody who's going to provide a better customer experience, and you're only as good as your last order, and we're doing consumables, right? So we're earning our stripes every day, repeatedly. That consistency and the expectations of the customers who want to have an elevated level experience, that's our niche. I'm not going to compete with them in certain respects. They're good companies, but if you're just a buy box on Amazon, if you're buying from me, it's going to be completely different. You're talking to live voices. Folks are going to get back to you. We're going to have live chat. We're going to have things other people aren't going to have.
I like that. And I know, Ian, when you and I were communicating about setting up this interview, you were quick to respond. We communicated. There was no chat bot or voicemail to worry about. So I'm
Yeah,
sure that spills over into your company.
it does. Everybody communicates kind of the same way. And not that we're not afraid to embrace AI in
Sure.
other ways within the business. We have to look at using that as an equalizer for some of these really large entities.
Mhm.
I think it really levels the playing field if you start to adapt and find out how you can leverage new tools.
Exactly. You're an ISSA member organization. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how being a member of ISSA has benefited you, things you've gotten in return for being a member.
But to answer the question, it's coming from our space and looking at getting into this adjacent category, which ultimately will be our one of our main categories. By furniture and Jansen will be is the future of the organization as OP just continues to get digitized. Joining ISSA really opened our eyes, and maybe it's just myself interfacing with the website initially, like, wow, look at all these suppliers I haven't heard of. There's a large dealer network. And probably, a dozen years ago, I decided, well, I'm going to go to the ISSA North America show. I ended up I've been to Florida. I think I've done them in Texas. I've done them in Chicago. I started going Vegas. I've done them I have not missed an ISSA show probably in a dozen years. And it was just me going. And then I dragged a couple of, senior managers up to Vegas once to go to, and going into the show and it's eye-popping, right? You have these great displays, you have a lot of energy, people are excited, a lot of friends, these people all know each other. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be one of these people, one day. And set up some meetings. You call up, say, Dial, for example, and say, hey, I'd like to get 30 minutes and go into your booth and learn. And doing that repeatedly. Last year, I took some of my representatives up to Las Vegas so they could experience it well. The level of energy they come back with for this category is off the charts. So what I felt is ISSA does a great job of welcoming people. It's educational, and there's just a community, so to speak, of manufacturers and distributors out there that are welcoming, and they help you talk. And if I go to a hand care company, they may say, well, go talk to this other guy in Tampa. He just put these things in and he's having great success. And they help you through. And I've found everybody really welcoming. So ISSA has been really helpful in that respect. I have not delved yet into the educational side of it, but there's so many opportunities year round. My inbox is always getting stuff in it. And that's probably the next step as we evolve and grow into ISSA as a member. I believe there's so much more untapped potential for us to leverage within the organization. It's going to benefit.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I'll see you at the show in Vegas.
Oh, great.
And
Look forward to it. We
yeah,
meet
get to
face
meet
to
in person.
face.
I
Yeah.
love ISSA Show for many reasons. One's a networking, getting to
Oh,
meet
yeah.
people face to face, you know.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And, there are folks from my business that are, and you've probably seen some OP people, office product people migrating over. And I can tell you, my first couple of shows, I didn't see anybody I knew. And then I started seeing more progressive people from my industry there. We're like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be there. I didn't know. And then it's more people and more. And now when I go, not only have I met new people, I've met new suppliers. I'm now reconnecting with some people who were there back in the day. And there's just more and more because, they want to evolve their business and fill us of space. As all these acquisitions are going on in the Jansan space. But there are other people out there like myself, a goodly many okay, that one got acquired. Well, maybe I can fit into that slot. And how do I, recreate that value proposition that they've really enjoyed with their former company that may not exist anymore?
Mhm. Absolutely. Couple more questions, then we'll wrap it up. But
Okay.
I'd like to know, you talked about that you think the Jansen industry is exciting. You've embraced AI and automation. But what about the future? What's next for your organization? What excites you the most about what's to come next?
Well, I believe that we're maybe we're out of our infancy, but we're still crawling. We're not up on our legs yet, Jeff. Honestly, there's so much to learn. And in my business, we're still selling an awful lot of office products. We do a lot in school supplies, take care of a lot of educational customers. But those educational customers, as an example, they're using can liners, they're using gloves, they're using towel and tissue, uh, chemicals. So that's where we're going initially. But of those three categories I listed to you, and then you think about the show floor at ICE, there are so many more categories to get into. And we're just scratching the surface. So the future is really understanding much more, whether it's equipment, it can be Rubbermaid with the solutions they provide. You start naming folks out there. We're just learning the basic categories, your kind of A+ items. We're trying to find vendors that make us competitive on the street. And then beyond that, then is okay, what are the next categories? So that's as a 25 thing. How do we get better? We've learned and what we're already doing. And then what are the new categories that are B categories? Maybe it's matting, custom mats. Just expanding more and more to the catalog of items or the categories so we can be thought of and looked at as good a supplier as anybody in this space. But we're still young, we're still green, and not afraid to admit it. But we're going to try awful hard, and we're going to learn this stuff, and we're going to be successful at it.
Last point. Help the industry. What are some words of advice, some tips on business or operational strategies you can share with our members?
So for a newer person in this, we got some outside counsel of large people who've run some large companies, and we have our banker and we have our CPA and we have sales directors. We have some people from wholesale distribution nationally and we will meet for a couple of days and talk about, where would this company want to go? How does it want to be successful? And then from there, putting the time and effort into having a strategic plan put together and putting days in there, getting a facilitator, building the plan so everybody has the expectation, taking that expectation and then articulating that to the staff so they understand what the vision is. Jeff, it comes with risk. We're going to make some mistakes along the way. It's not going to be just smooth sailing to jump into this. We're not going to win everything, but when we win, we want to dissect why, what was the differentiator, how has that become repeatable? And that's our plan of how to be successful. We're gonna, we're gonna plan the work and we're gonna work the plan. And if you're just kind of stumbling through it, it's not going to go well. So we want to put a lot of thought into what we do so our customers have great experiences.